Hello everyone, Stormy Strike here, and before this video starts, there's a few things I feel I should mention. First off is that I have not been able to keep up with sharing BreyerFest news like I had intended earlier on in the year. So if you missed it, Breyer did share their BreyerFest online program to their website, and they also gave some shopping information on the BreyerFest blog that's pretty important. I'll put the link to both of those in the description for you to check out if you haven't already. Then, while I was editing this video, the BreyerFest live auction models were put up onto the live auctioneer's site, and with that, they also had more photos of the live auction models posted. I included those photos in this video, but when I recorded the audio for this video, I only had the one picture of each model that Breyer originally posted. So when I talk about these models in this video, and I mention things like wanting to see the other side of them, just know that I say that because that was before those other pictures became available. Additionally, with Breyer putting everything up on the live auctioneer's site, they also put their donations and baskets and things that would have normally been in the silent auction. There are two gift baskets on there. One is for Queen of Hearts, and the other is for Apollo del Solis, however you say his name, I'm so sorry. And what's interesting about these is that they each have glossy versions of these models, and the description says that these aren't one-of-a-kind glossy models. It says they are not limited to the auction. Additional glossy models will be available as part of BreyerFest 2021. So far, Breyer has not said anywhere where these glossy models are going to be a part of BreyerFest this year. Maybe they are prize models for the model horse shows. Maybe they are for some kind of additional online raffle Breyer will be doing. Maybe they'll just be like some sort of random giveaway. Right now, no one knows, but it is something very interesting and something we're going to want to keep our eyes peeled for. They do show pictures of these models glossed here, and they both look gorgeous in gloss. Queen of Hearts especially looks great because gloss always really enhances the color on darker models. Anyway, that's it for the BreyerFest info I wanted to add in for now. Let's get on with the video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the BreyerFest 2021 live auction models and my thoughts about them. I will also be talking about a few other BreyerFest models I never got around to talking about yet. I have already shared my thoughts about all of the BreyerFest special runs and most of the limited edition models in previous videos, so if you want to hear what I thought about those models, that's where you can find that. Let's begin with two BreyerFest 2021 limited editions that were revealed a little while ago. We have here the plush for BreyerFest 2021 called Pal's Palette, and this adorable little guy has this cute little rainbow paint splattery Appaloosa blanket markings, and he also has an adorable little paint palette that says BreyerFest 2021 on it. This is pretty cute and I think fits the theme for BreyerFest this year very well. This is kind of a must-have for me because I do collect the little BreyerFest plush horses. I think they're just so adorable and a really fun way to showcase each theme of BreyerFest, especially for the ones that I've actually been to. This plush is a limited quantity of 2,500 and is unfortunately not available on back order, so hopefully these guys don't sell out too quickly. Now that is a big increase from last year's plush numbers. Last year there was 1,000 made of Mackenzie, and this year there is 2,500, so a 1,500 increase. So hopefully he won't sell out too quickly. But there also seems to be a lot of people doing virtual BreyerFest this year. So who knows, he may sell out right away, he may not, we'll see. This plush will also be $18, which is about what the plushes usually are for BreyerFest. So we'll move on now to the limited edition stablemate for BreyerFest this year. This is Kaleidoscope, which is a great name for this model. Kaleidoscope here is $15 each, and there's a quantity of 6,500 made of him. This guy will hopefully not sell out too quickly because 6,500 is a pretty huge increase in the number of these stablemates. For example, last year's BreyerFest stablemate, there were 2,000 of him made, and actually was the same number of them made in 2019 as well, was 2,000 of the Sarge stablemate. So 6,500 is a lot. So hopefully there will be enough to go around for everybody. I know I certainly do want one of these little guys. The color on this model is just super cool. I love the fact that he is rainbow resist dapple with this purple interface. It's so cool. I'd actually love to see Breyer do this color again on other models or something because it is awesome. It is a very, very cool color. Now we move on to the BreyerFest contest models. They first revealed the BreyerFest Best Customs Contest Grand Prize model, whose name is Noir, and he is a recolored version of the Premier Club model Emerson. He is done as this really pretty shaded black Sabino. It looks like he might have a bit of a metallic look in his coat as well, maybe some metallic undercoating or something. I do like this model a lot. He is gorgeous. I did not enter the BreyerFest Best Customs contest, so I definitely don't have any chance of winning, but these models are really fun to admire from afar. And then the stablemate model for the BreyerFest Customs contest, this is the runner-up prize, or like the second place prize. This one is called Blanca. This one's based after the Charleston stablemate. Instead of the chestnut, it has, again, the black pinto going on. Really cute little guy. And then the other contest model this year is the Diorama Contest Prize model. His name is Stubbs. Now, if you aren't familiar, the Diorama Contest Prize models are most often Breyer molds that are not very popular, and they especially use molds that are vintage ones that aren't very popular. Although they sometimes use more modern ones. For example, they use the newer Boomerang mold in 2018. I'm actually very relieved that this model isn't on a mold that I seriously conga or something, because I was kind of worried that it could be the Foundation Stallion or something for this year, because they had revealed the name Stubbs before they showed a picture of the model. And I was already thinking that models like the Foundation Stallion, or that one thoroughbred one that I can't think of the name of for some reason, but I'll put a picture of it on screen. I was kind of thinking models like that might possibly be the contest prize model, and I was worried about the Foundation Stallion one because I would have to go all out into entering the diorama contest to try and win a Foundation Stallion one. But anyway, fortunately it was this guy, which I think is gorgeous, but he is not one I feel like I have to have, which is a relief for me because while I did really want to enter the diorama contest this year, I just did not have any time at all. We'll talk a little bit more about this model. He is on the Hanoverian mold, and he is done up in this very pretty Dunalino. They say he even has a touch of gold interface in his base coat, which you can't really see in this picture, but I bet in person he looks really cool. He has some really nice little details too. He's got a little star on his forehead, he's got nicely painted brown eyes, he's got some nice striping on his legs that look really cool. He also has a lovely dorsal stripe and stripe on his shoulder. And he does just overall, like, his coloring is really, really pretty. And I do actually like this mold, by the way. It's not one of my favorites, but I do have a few models on this mold, and I think it's very cute. And this color does look very nice on it. And now we have 2 Raffle models to talk about. And oddly enough, Breyer changed it this year. Normally it is Saturday and Sunday Raffle models, but this year they changed it to Friday and Saturday. At first we were all kind of thinking, are they going to do a 3rd Raffle model? That would be really exciting. But they just changed the days for whatever reason, made it Friday and Saturday instead of Saturday and Sunday. So the first model is the Friday Raffle model, and it is called Maybridge, or Mubridge. I may be pronouncing it wrong, I'm very sorry. And it is based on the famous English photographer that was known for the photographic study of motion. It did some of those really famous pictures showing horses in motion. So it's really cool, I think, that they named a model after that. As for this model itself, I think its color is amazing. I adore this coloring. I would love to see this color on so many different molds. I do, however, not really care for the Icelandic mold. I've had a model on the Icelandic mold, and I thought I was going to like it a lot, and it never grew on me. So I ended up selling it, and to this day don't have any models on this mold, because I don't know why, I can't get into it for some reason. And it's funny because I normally really like Kathleen Moody's sculpts, but this particular one just doesn't really speak to me for some reason. So I do really love the color on this guy, but for my own personal preference, I would have really loved it if it was on a different mold. But it is still a very pretty model. I love the kind of silvery shimmeriness going on in the mane and tail. This model also has beautiful blue eyes and some really nice mapping. The second Raffle model is Bonnier. Oh my gosh, I cannot pronounce it. It's a French name. Rosa Marie Rosalie Bonnier is what this model is named after, who is a French artist. This model is on the Roxy mold. They describe her as a realistic, rich silver bay. And of course, as we can see in these pictures, she is very glossy. I am honestly very underwhelmed with this Raffle model though. She doesn't feel like a Raffle model at all. She does feel like maybe like a live auction model. I could see her being a live auction model or something like that. But she doesn't have the flair, I feel like, that a normal Raffle model does. Not saying, of course, that all Raffle models have to be crazy colors and stuff. But she does feel a little underwhelming, and I know a lot of people were also expecting Fireheart to be a Raffle model this year. So I feel like there is some kind of lingering disappointment from that aspect too. It's like, wait a second, we were expecting Fireheart and he's not here. Which I actually have a theory about. If you haven't heard, the Premier Club members have not been able to pay for their Firehearts for a very long time, but as this video comes out, they are now able to buy them. Because Breyer was just having delays that was out of their control. The models just didn't get shipped to their warehouse in the time that they thought they were going to. So I almost wonder if they didn't have that many plastic Firehearts with them in order to make him a Raffle model. They did have at least one because there is a Fireheart in plastic for the live auction. But that's something I did wonder about, if maybe they were planning to have a Fireheart live auction model, but then because of the production delays, they didn't have enough plastic copies in hand to paint up the Raffle models in New Jersey or something. I don't know, it's just what I'm kind of thinking and wondering about, because this particular model does feel like she was kind of last minute. She's very pretty again, don't get me wrong. She is very nicely done, very realistic. I do like that she has a lot of darker shading and then lighter highlights going on, but she just doesn't feel like a Raffle model to me. I was thinking about it and looking at some other Raffle models, and I almost wonder if she was actually maybe supposed to be like the early bird Raffle model. Because I noticed that a lot of times the early bird Raffle models are usually not quite as flashy and crazy looking as the other BreyerFest Raffle models. So I wonder, maybe that's where this girl came from. Maybe she was going to possibly be an early bird Raffle model for BreyerFest this year. But then they decided not to have the early bird Raffle and then used her as the other Raffle model instead, if that makes sense. I do think it's just a little strange, because as I look at some other Raffle models here, Breyer does usually do these a lot more like wow-worthy colors. Not even necessarily Appaloosas and Pintos, but for even solid colors, they just do things that are a little bit more rare and more interesting. So I don't know, that's just all speculation on my end. It's very possible that this model was always intended to be the Saturday Raffle model for this year, but there's just something that did feel a little off to me about it. Alright, I believe that covers all of the different BreyerFest models I haven't talked about yet, so we can now get into the live auction models. Now these models are all test pieces, aside from the two Raffle models here that we already just talked about. These models typically sell for thousands of dollars, and I am certainly not planning on bidding on any of them, but it's still really fun to talk about them, especially when they come in such cool, crazy colors. There is one thing I want to point out about these models that I found interesting, and that is that there are a little more of them this year compared to last year. Last year, Breyer had only 16 live auction models, or more specifically, like live auction lots, and this year there are 18. This is not counting the other live auction donations, by the way, that would normally be in the silent auction and in-person BreyerFest. Things like the gift baskets or customs and vendor packs and things like that that are in the silent auction normally. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about only the test models and the two Raffle models. Even though there are 18 live auction models this year, that is actually still less than the normal amount for in-person BreyerFest. For reference, in 2019, there were 29 auction models, and in 2018, there were 28. And I just find it interesting that Breyer has not been doing as many live auction models. I don't know whether or not that has anything to do with the fact that BreyerFest has been virtual these past 2 years, or if they just haven't been doing as many live auction models regardless for whatever reason. I guess we'll find out next year if BreyerFest is in person again, and we see a jump back up to those usual number of live auction models of more close to around 28. Then we can assume that for whatever reason, maybe they just didn't want to put as many up online for auction. I don't know, but that's just something I wanted to point out. But now let's actually talk about all these beautiful models. Lot number 1 is a glossy neon tiger with blue interface on the ruffian mold. This actually might possibly be my favorite model in the entire live auction this year. I just love this color so much. I'm just so into decorators now, which I find kind of funny because when I first started collecting, I was really not at all into decorators. And now I just adore decorators. But this model is, oh my goodness, so gorgeous. I adore the coloring on her. There is just something so fun about the fact that she is the tiger stripe pattern like Padma, but she's got these pinks and blues and greens and yellows in her coloring. She actually reminds me a lot of the 80s and 90s, that whole vibe with those colors. That's just kind of a very 80s, 90s color scheme going on. And the fact that she is with blue interface, which I actually think kind of looks more like purple to me here. But I'm guessing it's probably kind of like a dark blue that shifts to purple kind of thing, maybe. The fact that she's that interface color also is probably amazing. I wish I could see her in person, because I imagine it looks incredible in person. Adore this model. I love her tail, love her stripes, her colors, love her really bright green eyes. Just love everything about her. She's amazing. Lot number 2 is a pearly leopard Appaloosa with ghost spotting on the Lady Phase mold. This model is adorable. I think 1 or 2 people already mentioned this as well, but her color is very similar to a Breyer Collector Club event special run model in the past, which I can't think of his name right now or which event he was from, but I'll put the picture of him and the information up on screen, but it was on a Fighting Stallion model. And yeah, this same kind of coloring going on. And it's interesting because of that very pearly white and then the kind of minimal Appaloosa with all those ghost spots. Just looks very cool. It's a very cool color in general, and I think it does look very nice on the Lady Phase mold. She has some very nice details too, like those striped hooves. Her eyes look like they're probably detailed, and she has some really cute little mottling on her muzzle. Lot number 3 is a chalky dapple gray Tobiano on this mold I'm suddenly blanking on the name of. It's like Vermeer or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it well. This guy is really cool. I think it was a really good choice that they decided to make him chalky because you can tell on his dapples, they look different than when Breyer does the dapples straight on to the bare plastic. When they paint on the chalky base coat, the paint kind of like reacts to it differently and gives it a different look. And I think this really soft, nice look these dapples are getting on this chalky base coat just looks wonderful. He looks like a nice mix actually between like a custom and then a OF Breyer. Very lovely and a really fun color to put on this mold. Lot number 4 is Fiery Chestnut Blanket Appaloosa on the Weather Girl mold. This one's a really interesting one, and I actually really like seeing these kinds of models because I feel like we get to see the different artists and painters in New Jersey getting to really play around here with colors and doing different techniques to get these different looks. It is really fun when we get to see that in these live auction models. And I say this because this model's color does look rather different from what we're used to seeing. There's just kind of a mix of techniques going on here. We got that resist splattering for the undercoat of this model. But then we have these really beautifully intricate masked off markings and also tons of mapping and hoof striping. This model is just awesome looking. I feel like whoever worked on this model probably just had a great time giving it all these crazy details. The muzzle too, oh my gosh, look how cool that muzzle is. It's so detailed with all that mottling. Just a really cool, gorgeous model. Lot number 5 is Glossy Resist Dappled Copper on the Goffert mold. Now this one is interesting because at first glance I thought it was some kind of test color for the Big Cat series or something. Kind of gives me Black Panther vibes or like a black leopard, you know? Just with that dark black and then that kind of gold. He feels like he's from Wakanda or something. I don't know. This model is just really cool. I actually really like this color. Lot number 6 is a mare in full set on Secession and LaFire. This is Dappled Gray Mare in Chestnut Overo Colt. This set is pretty cute. I'm actually not very crazy about it though. They're both very nicely done, and like the Secession especially has some very beautiful dapples and just overall very nice shading, and it looks like she even has flea bites too, which is always a fun touch. The full also has some fun, nice Overo markings. But I don't know, I'm not super crazy about them for some reason. I think they are very cute, But for me personally, I think they're some of my least favorite models for the live auction this year. Lot number 7 is a Bay Roan Blanket Appaloosa on the Othello mold. This guy is really cool looking, and I'm sure he is going to go for a ton of money because I know there are a lot of die-hard Othello collectors out there, and he does have a very neat coloring going on. I really love how they did his Roaning and Appaloosa spots on his barrel. It just looks super cool, I think. And he also has some nice mapping on his Appaloosa spots on his haunches. His face is really interesting, and it actually reminds me of the Fair Dinkum model that was for the Breyer True Blue event, in that Breyer seems to be trying out to do some of these gray markings on the models to try and make them kind of look older, I feel like. Just trying to give them those natural gray that animals get on their faces when they get older. I feel like that's kind of what's going on here, unless they just made this really bizarre face marking. But I feel like it's more trying to get this kind of aged look to the models, or do this kind of just crazy varnish Roan stuff, I don't know. But that is what it kind of looks like to me. I wish we could see the other side of the model too, so we can maybe get a better idea of what they're going for here. But I do feel like they are trying to experiment with giving some models that aged look in their faces, that bit of gray and stuff, which I think is really cool. I like to see Breyer experimenting with these different colors and ideas on giving their models these different little touches and stuff. I think it's awesome. I think it's really interesting that this isn't solid white on his face. He does actually have those splattery resist spots going on. You can see some parts is whiter, some parts it's a little more gray, and of course his muzzle has a ton of mottling going on. He's just a very interesting looking horse. I really wish I could see this one in person because I really just think he's very interesting, very fascinating to look at. Lot number 8 is a glossy rainbow pinto with gold mapping, and this is on the American Saddlebred mold. This guy is pretty cool. I'm quite liking him. He's kind of the same theme of the Prism and Spectrum models, and I know Breyer's done a few other handful of rainbow models like that before, so we have another fun rainbow model here again. I actually really like the markings on this guy's face. There's something about it that I think is just really cool, that his one eye has white around it, and then his other eye looks like it might have a spot, which I think is very cute. The general pattern, I think, of this model is pretty cool. And that gold mapping looks neat. I want to see that in person also. That's a fun little touch. The only thing I don't love about this guy is the purple on his tail, and this is what I felt about some of their other models as well, is that I guess just whatever purple color that's easily available for them, it's just kind of ugly in my opinion. It's just kind of an ugly purple. It's not like a very beautifully rich saturated purple. It's just kind of like this bleh colored purple. So that's the only thing. I wish it was a prettier, brighter purple, but otherwise he is a gorgeous, gorgeous model. Lot number 9 is a glossy black bay with factory custom roached mane. This guy is super cool, and I really hope that maybe someday in the future Breyer would release some sort of run on this model where they have the roached mane on him, because I do feel like he looks really cool with the roached mane. I know people have also done customs like this on this mold as well, where they take his mane off. I really like this mold, and this color does look lovely on it. Very, very rich dark bay. It's cool to see all this nice little mapping on his markings. It's just a very neat, sleek looking model. Lot number 10 is Sooty Palomino with pearly mane and tail on the Troubadour mold. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm not super crazy about this one either, honestly. I know a lot of people are like head over heels for this one, but I'm just not super in love with this mold for some reason. I think it might partially be because I haven't had one in hand yet to like really look at him in person and stuff. I've only seen pictures of him, but I do think the color on it is very, very nicely done. I love the pearly mane and tail. The dapples are just amazing. Lot number 11 is glossy electric blue color shift zebra with holographic base. This model is beautiful. I love her. She is just another really fun decorator. I am not a huge fan of the gray, even though I guess it is holographic and stuff, so it's going to be very shimmery and cool in person. But like in the picture, I'm like, I would have liked her better if she was a darker color, like closer to black or just a very, very dark blue or something. I think I'd personally like that look a little bit more, but she is still very, very cool. I love this holographic blue and purple and stuff going on. This is another model that would just look amazing to see in person, I bet. I also love that her hooves and her mane and tail, they all got that really fun, shimmery, shiny, holographic, color shifting, whatnot stuff going on. And then, of course, topped off in gloss. Just looks gorgeous. Lot number 12 is the Raffle model we already talked about. Lot number 13. Now, this is another model that is probably just going to go crazy high in price. This is a red brown Sabino on the Fireheart mold. It's hard to see, but we do see a little bit of a Sabino spot on his belly, and can also see on his hind leg. He's got some of those Sabino markings like creeping up on him. He has some lovely mapping on him, and of course has that nice roning going on. Overall, I do like his color a lot. I'm actually very excited to see this model in plastic. This is my first time seeing it in plastic, because as I'm recording this video, no one has gotten their Fireheart models yet in hand for those pictures and stuff. But I'm going to sound crazy here probably to some people, but I actually like the plastic versions of Breyer models better than the resin prototype versions they show. And I don't know if that's just because I prefer to collect OF over resins in general, but I like this guy a lot more now that I get to see him in plastic than when I saw the prototype in resin. I don't know why that is, why I just kind of like the look of plastic better for some reason, but for whatever weird, crazy reason, I do. Seeing this model makes me really excited for us to hopefully see some special runs and regular run releases in the future on this mold, because I would absolutely love to have a model on this mold now. I really hope that we get to see a BreyerFest special run model on this mold next year. Lot number 14 is a Black Leopard Appaloosa on the Old Timer mold. This guy is awesome! I love him! He is super cool! I am personally a fan of the Leopard Appaloosas that do have those like really big spots like this guy. I really like this color, and I think it actually suits this mold very well. I think it looks very, very cute with his little blue hat. I love him. He's amazing. And he has lots of fun little details too, like the striped hooves and all the little painted details on his harness and his bridle. It also looks like he has some pink spots or mottling on his muzzle too. Just an adorable fellow. Lot number 15 is the Raffle model we already talked about. Lot number 16 is Glossy Fanciful Bay Brindle Reverse Overo. That is quite a mouthful. So obviously this guy is based on some sort of rare color or something, I guess. He actually looks like he's the color that bulls come in. Bulls and cows, bovine, when they have like pinto markings, you could say. They're different from how horses look. The patterns that their markings fall into look usually very different from horses. And this guy kind of looks like that. Like, looks like he has like the markings of a bull or something. I'm not even sure if this color is like technically a realistic horse color or not. I don't know. He's a very weird looking model, but he's also very cool. Lot number 17 is actually another decorator. This is Glossy Metallic Red Pinto on the, oh my gosh, what is his name again? Georg, that's his name. This Georg guy is pretty cool. I think what's neat is that, like, at first glance, he looks like a red bay, but then you go, oh wait, he's actually a decorator. He's got really shiny red metallic on him. And I think it's kind of neat that he is mostly white and that there's only a few spots of these metallic pinto markings on him. I'm kind of digging him, actually. He's pretty cool. Lastly is lot number 18, Glossy Dapple Bay on the Hamilton mold. This is another one that is probably just going to go for a crazy amount of money, I'm guessing. This guy is very cool. Look at all those little bitty dapples on him. Those look awesome. I just love that he has this really, really dark shading in points, near black, dark shading, and then combined with these really light kind of golden highlights that we see on his flank here, for example. It's a really cool look because it gives just a really, really nice contrast to this model. And that actually does it for these BreyerFest live auction models. Hopefully this video isn't too long. I ended up talking a lot longer than I meant to. But it has been a while since I did a video just talking about all the different BreyerFest models and stuff. Let me know in the comments which of the live auction models for BreyerFest 2021 is your favorite. As I mentioned earlier, I think my favorite might be that first one, the Glossy Neon Tiger on the Ruffian mold. Personally, I just think that one is super cool. But there are honestly a lot of really cool models in the live auction this year. So be sure to let me know which one is your favorite. I have posted my schedule of events for my online BreyerFest celebration this year, so be sure to check it out and get yourself in the BreyerFest spirit. Thank you for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye everyone!